Hello bots and bits fans, and welcome back to another episode of Today we are taking a very good look at the Mechfans Toys MF-0 Megotroun. Yeah, Megotroun. It's a bit of a shit name. Now this is an oversized of the Dx9 X13 War in Pocket Mightron. Not much of an oversize. It comes in at about 12 centimeters to his head, and I think the Dx9 was about the 10 centimeter mark. So just a very slight oversize, like a lot of the Mechfans Toys stuff. Now I bought this guy from show.z.com. Head over there and check out their website. They've got plenty in stock. He's a little bit more expensive than other MFT stuff, but I think that's just the way things are going now. Anyway, they've got great service, speedy response to messages, and a ton of other stuff and heaps of specials on their website, so go check them out. All the links are in the description. Now, Mechfans Toys have said that they've adjusted the proportions of this guy. I can't really see where they might have done that, with the exception of the chest. They've made this whole thing just a little bit less bulky than the Dx9, because the Dx9 just looked, that thing looked awful, absolutely awful. This looks a little bit better in proportion, although I will say the head could be a little bit bigger. And speaking of the head, you could probably tell already, they have put a mini, hang on, focus please. There we go. They've put a mini MP36 head on there. Isn't that fantastic? Again, it could be a little bit bigger, but I think that just looks perfect. That is excellent. Absolutely excellent. And it even switches out exactly the same as MP36. You just grab the forehead, and look at that. Oh, I dropped it. Slide it straight out. No alternate face underneath, but whatever. While I'm doing this, I might as well just show off the alternate face that you get. Early accessory. There it is, the laughing face. That is just perfect. I dig that face. That looks excellent. Now, anyway, I'm already starting on the accessories, so let's just go down and get all this sorted right now. For his accessories, we do get a lot of the MP36 accessories. So I've already shown you the laughing face, so I'll just show you the default face that comes with him. Full focus, there you go. Excellent sculpt. The eyes look a little bit squinty to me. It's a bit hard to get the light in it because it's just so small, but they are a very vibrant red. And you do still have the black eyebrows. It's not a monobrow like it's meant to be, but it is some pretty fine detail. The white on the face looks really good. I do have a chip here on the cheek. We also get the mind control helmet. No paint at all, but it is the exact, well, it almost looks the exact same sculpt as the MP36. We also get his little lightsaber, which again looks great. It's got some good detail, especially around the edge there where the beam comes out. One thing that I was surprised to see, just like MP36, the blade comes out. Now, why do I bring this up? Because when we bring in Blitzwing's pistol, you can plug that in the end. Looks a little bit weird having a stem, then a ball, then a point. Would have been better if it went all the way in, but yeah, whatever. It's a nice feature they didn't have to do. Now, onto the gun itself. Again, no paint at all, but it does have some pretty cool detail. Long mold line down the middle. It's got a sprue mark on the back, but that's pretty much it. It is tidy. Here we have the key to Vector Sigma. Detail in this looks fantastic. Look at that. So tiny. I don't think he can actually hold it. His hands aren't really made for this sort of thing, but it is a cool little accessory anyway. And we get a mace attachment, which is nice and bendy and stiff. That's a little bit loose on the end, but the chain section itself is actually nice and tight. And the last couple of bits, we get his cannon, obviously, which is nicely sculpted. Little button on the top, little bit of red paint there, screw there. Like a reflective red bit. You seeing that? In the back of it. Anything in the front? Oh yeah, and in the front as well. No lights or anything. A bit weird that that's in the back too. Whatever. And then grip and silencer. Let's bring this up and take a look at all this stuff on him. Alright, so the grip can work just like MP36, where you spread these little feet and then you bend this down, and then we just grab the silencer and slot that in like that. And there you have it, his defense stand or whatever the hell that is. Let's just chuck his cannon on. There we go, peg right there. Chuck that on, it's not rocket science. So let's see how the pistol fits in. It's nice and tight. No, it doesn't have an. It does have a slight wrist swivel, but it's a very tight mushroom peg. Got a bit wonky. Holds that just fine. Let me just put this sword back together. Like that. Holds that perfect. Helmet sits on there. Helmet's a little bit loose. It's just sort of sitting there. It's not tabbing in or anything. And when it comes to the mace, the hands don't actually come off. So it's just a little mushroom peg. So he just holds it. Just like that. So there you go, there's the accessories. Alright, just quickly before we move on, I am just going to take a quick look at this artwork on the box, because that looks fantastic. Look at that. I'm sure that's been stolen from somewhere. That looks too good to be their custom artwork. A few pictures there, a couple little pictures there. Yeah, that's it. End of that. Alright, on to Megatron. Just come down a bit. And there he is. Now, the Dx9 design, considering the size of it, was actually pretty good. Even though the proportions were really ugly, they still did a really good design job. Having said that, there are a couple of things that I wish Mechfans Toys had fixed on this guy. And they have to do with tabs. So one such tab is, I wish that they put one right here. It wouldn't have been too difficult. Just a little tab, just there, and just one in there, just to hold that in. When you're manipulating it and playing with him, it does come out a little bit, and it's more of an annoyance than like a failing. And the only other real complaint I have is I wish they did the same thing for this back piece. Like, see the trigger guard? There's space here on his back that, see, look at these. Let's see that circle right there. They could have put just the tiniest little hole right there on his back, and then that would have tabbed in really securely instead of being... I suppose I could get a drill and just do it myself. I might even do that actually. Got a little hand drill, maybe just make my own little tiny peg hole. But those 2 points aside, I really do not have any complaints about this. I dig the plastic that they're using. It is that typical strong Mechfans Toys plastic. If you own any of their other stuff, you know exactly what this plastic will feel like and how it's going to work. A lot of the joints are really nice and stiff, with the exception of the hips. A little bit of looseness. He's not falling over or anything. They're not so weak that they can't hold him up. It just... everything else feels nice and stiff and tight on this, and these are just noticeably looser. But anyway, sticking with the plastics, the grey plastic colour looks great. That is just totally Megatron. The red is nice and vibrant, really sticks out. These greys look great as well. I'm glad they went with grey instead of just black, because I think black would just been a bit too much. There is a little bit of paint on his body. It's all in his abdomen. A little bit of yellow. A little bit of yellow just here, which is done pretty well. A couple of spots of blue, and there's some reflective red. That's a little bit fuzzy, you seeing that? But from there, from that far away, you can't tell. Onto his articulation. On his head, it's a very stiff 360 all the way around. No up or down though, none at all. We've got in his shoulder, it's just a large ball socket, as you can see in there. Large ball socket, that is nice stiff. That little transformation hinge is coming out a little bit. But the ball socket is nice and stiff. Get a bit of a butterfly on it as well, because the armature of it is so long. The elbows are nice and stiff. Got a 90-degree range. Got a very stiff bicep swivel on a mushroom peg, and it's the same deal when it comes to the wrist. Little tiny mushroom peg that is very stiff. And the other side is just as well. That's a little bit tighter there actually. But overall, that's pretty consistent. See, manipulating it, it's coming up a little bit. The range on these arms going up, look at that. That's very limiting. But you can still get it out pretty far like that, and then with the bicep swivel and even with the wrist swivel, you can still get some dynamic arm poses. But it's pretty much only forward, only in front. There's no him raising his gun that way, is there? Look, that's unless you wanted to do it like that, or like that, sort of a little bit of an unnatural pose, I guess. Same on the other side. So if you wanted him to point his cannon outwards, you can't really do it, which kind of sucks. Yeah, look, so you're sort of just limited to the cannon forward and back. That sucks, because I would like him to be pointing his cannon straight out, looking like that. I suppose that's the best I'm gonna get. Okay, so back down to the hips again. They're slightly loose, but not too bad. We've got the upper thigh swivel on a mushroom peg, it's nice and tight. It's what you want. And then down further on the feet, we've got a ball socket on a hinge. So the hinge itself will rock forward and back. Because it's a ball socket, you do get a pretty Pretty awesome pivot both ways, forward and back on the ball socket, and the hinge forward and back. So you can get some pretty cool running poses and a lot of dynamic stuff out of him. And that is pretty much him in a nutshell. There are limitations in the mold, but we just got to deal with it. Before I move on to the transformation, I will just bring in some other bots for comparison. So, hang on, stand up. So we have Hot Soldier Soundwave, Pocket Toys Shockwave, Mechfans Toys 6-Shot, Mechfans Toys Shockwave. Let me just flatten these toes out. Iron Factory Sideswipe, and Iron Factory Bruticus. Let's just get all these guys out of the way now that you've seen them, and just check out him and Bruticus. Yeah, the Mechfans Toy stuff doesn't really scale with Iron Factory, I don't think. Not really a good scale. But you know what, that's fine, it's not meant to. Alright, so let's just get rid of all of that. Come down here just a little bit, and we'll get onto the transformation. Alright, so to get started, I'm just going to collapse these forearms up. Actually, I'm going to take this cannon off just to make things easy. Just collapse those forearms up, and then this section here will extend out on an arm like that. Then I'm going to flatten that, and then I'll rotate this hand so the thumb is facing like that. And then when I bring it around this side, because this is really awkward to do, this all flexes trying to get this hand inside this cavity in here. I'm probably doing it wrong. I feel like I might be, but this is how the instructions say to do it. Bring this section out, and then I'm just going to bring this hand inside this section, and then rotate this hinge around flat, and then rotate this ball socket around flat. And so the hand just travels in a half circle around like that. And then I'm going to grab this abdomen section, and I'm going to flip it out. Now I can't get my fingers in there, so I'm going to use my little dental tool and just pry this out. Now the first time I did it, this just popped off of it. It's just pressure hinges, and it just pops straight off. So I'm also going to extend that now and bring that around, bring this out like that, and get this trigger out of the way. Collapse the ab section all the way in, and then this upper torso is on a hinge right there, so I need to bring this all the way forward like that, and then grab this whole pistol section, and this all comes out on an arm, sliding arm, just like that. And I'm just going to bend this hinge out like that to get this arm to come out, and move the arm out of the way. This hinge, I hate doing this, it's like forcing it over that bit of plastic there. There's a little ramp to get past it, but it's not clear enough. Bring that around like that, and then fold that out. Bring it around on the ball socket. Collapse this torso back flush. Stick that hand inside the top of the torso and work them in together. There's no tabs, so they're just sitting there for now. Then I'm going to lift this section up, fold Megatron's head around. Doesn't want to go in. Maybe turn it that way. That doesn't want to go in. This is just not sitting in flush for me. So I had to bring the arm around first. Rotate that there. Bring that around. Close the head. Right here, bring the nozzle down. It's a bit tight, and then fold that up. I'm going to get this trigger all the way forward. Now with this leg, I'm going to turn it this way. Open the back up. Bring one panel out. Now all this stuff sort of has a bit of trouble getting out of its own way. Everything's hitting something, and it's very awkward. It's a very awkward feeling. Before you close that, turn the foot around, rotate this all the way up, close all of this around it, and then you've got a couple of tabs just up here which holds the back of the gun in. Turn the leg that way, so the shin's facing towards the barrel. Open it up, unfold the panel, bring it in, same on the other side obviously. Before you close it, bring this toe all the way up, bring all this in. Now this will tab together here, and before you seal it all in, unfold this section on the trigger guard, bring it up like this, just up like that, and then it will tab into the top of the grip, just like that, and then tab all that in, and it all holds fairly securely. Grab your cannon and stick that on top, straighten your trigger up, and there you have it, Megotroun in his gun mode. Looks pretty good. Looks like Megotroun as a gun. It all tabs together really nicely. It's really solid. It doesn't do anything special. I mean, the trigger moves, but it's not spring loaded or anything. And then once it goes all the way in, it's kind of stuck. Come here. Get out. Yeah, there we go. You can chuck these. Oh, that's on there. Steph, there we go. You can chuck all these bits back on. So that goes on. So it's meant to go on? Yeah, it just sits on there like that. That's a little bit rubbish. And this bit, so untab the back. I'm not going to untab the whole thing. I'm just going to spread it. Slide that in. There we go. And there it is. Silencer, grip, and everything. Now the grip is on there really tight. The silencer a little bit loose, but also it's a little bit too much weight for this hinge. So that just sort of comes a little bit loose. But you're not doing that anyway. It's just going to sit there looking like that if you've got it in gun mode, and it looks fine. It just looks fine. Gun mode compared to Hot Soldiers, compared to Iron Factory, 6-shot, side swipe, Mechfans Toys, Pocket Toys. There you go. Hope that was a help. So the question is it worth it, and should you buy it? I'm going to say, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's totally worth it. And yeah, you should probably buy it. If this is the kind of thing that you're collecting, if you're looking for a slightly larger Megatron that's already available for the Legends classes, then yeah, totally. Not much paint to speak of, but the plastic that they've used is pretty good. The joints are all still pretty good. A little bit of colour that is in it. It's totally Megatron. He can look a little bit bland, but I think that's just the character, really. It is a little bit more expensive than the other Mechfans Toys bots. I don't think it's a manufacturing thing. I think they just knew it would be popular, so they're going to charge a little bit more for it. Like, you think of like the MFT Shockwave, not Shockwave, MFT 6-shot, that had a ton of accessories, and that was cheaper than this. A couple of design issues that I didn't really like, but that lays at the feet of Dx9. They could have fixed a couple of other issues really, really easily, which I'm a little bit disappointed that they didn't. But when it comes to this sort of stuff, you can't expect anything anymore. So is it worth it? Yeah, if you're looking for a 12cm Megatron, you won't get better. Not at the moment anyway. I think this is totally worth the money. I think they've done a really good job, and I'm happy with my purchase.
And that's it. Now, if you like this video and you enjoy what I'm doing, please like and subscribe to my channel. Remember to check out my Facebook for daily news and updates on KO and third-party stuff. Have an Instagram account, hashtag bots and bits, all one word. And as always, guys, thank you very much for your time, and thanks a lot for watching.